There comes a moment in a gifted person's life when something clicks. It's a shift, a sudden clarity. Now, you look at your history, your memories, the way they treated you, and you finally say to yourself, wait, that wasn't family. That was something else. Because real family nurtures, real family uplifts, real family want you free. But what happens when the very people you share DNA with move as a collective force to weaken you, to silence you, to contain you, or erase the calling on your life? They're not family. They're not spiritual. They're not anointed. They're a cult united by one mission: destroy what they cannot influence. You don't realize it as a child because they smile, they laugh, they take pictures, they talk about loyalty and honor, but underneath, you were being monitored. You were being assessed. They already made up their minds about you and probably your mama too. They measured. They treated you differently from everyone else. Not because you were the problem, but because you were the prophecy. Now, you were the one who would break the unspoken pact. Keep everything the same, keep the cycle alive, don't rise, don't question, don't evolve. And when a gift is born into a stagnant bloodline, it shakes the whole system. That shaking is what made them unite against you. A family cult doesn't form overnight, it forms through quiet agreement. One person resents your spirit. Another person envies your clarity. Another person feels inferior next to your purpose or your intelligence or your beauty or your skin tone or your skin color or your hair length. That someone speaks it out loud. What's wrong with them? Why do they act like that? Who do they think they are? And suddenly, the room has a common enemy. This unity is not built on love, it's built on shared discomfort, shared denial, shared insecurity, shared fear of your rise. This is how spiritual jealousy creates a coalition. You became the story they bonded over, the topic they returned to, the warning they passed around, not because you harmed them, but because your existence threatened the foundation of lies they built their identity on. See, this is what makes them dangerous. They hide behind religion. They hide behind titles like mother, father, sibling, uncle, aunt, elder, and they hide behind prayers, scriptures, rituals, ceremonies, and righteous language. But inside, their intentions are dark, their hearts are hardened, their motives are corrupted. They speak blessings with their mouth while cursing your progress in their mind. They give advice that's really sabotage. They offer help that's really control. They call for unity when they mean silence. A family cult functions like a spiritual trap, a web of false affection and conditional love. You stay only if you stay small. You stay only if you stay humble. You stay only if you dim the gift inside you. They don't want you gone, they want you contained. And let me tell you the truth they never said out loud. They saw your gift before you did. They saw your potential when you were a child. They saw your insight and beauty when you were a teen. They saw your potential and your calling before you could speak it, and they resented you for it. Because your presence exposes their limitations. Your mind challenges their complacency. Your purpose threatens their comfort. You walk into a room and their mask slips. You speak and their insecurity rises. You dream and their jealousy activates. You are the one thing they cannot control, and that is why they targeted you. A cult cannot tolerate a free thinker. A cult cannot survive a gifted one who sees truth, and a cult cannot endure the presence of someone touched by God. Here is how you know they formed a cult against you. They share information about you as intel, not family talk. Every mistake is broadcast and every win is minimized. They rewrite stories to make you look unreasonable. Suddenly, you're the problem, the difficult one, or the outsider. They create rules just for you, rules that no one else in the family is expected to follow. They perform spiritually, publicly, but deny it privately. They never celebrate you. They only critique, correct, or question you. They bond with each other over their dislike of you. And that is cult behavior. They attempt to break your confidence through isolation. No one invites you to anything. They make you uncomfortable when you show up. They slur you. They feel threatened when you set boundaries or choose silence. Bruised egos can unite faster than healed hearts. That is how a bloodline becomes a cult. For years, you thought the problem was you. You thought you were too sensitive, too emotional, too intense, too bold. You thought you were imagining the tension. But the truth is this: you were surrounded by people who were silently competing with you. People who were intimidated by your spirit. People who didn't want you to rise. God let you see it when you were finally ready to walk away from it. Because if He showed you earlier, you would have tried to save them. You would have tried to prove your love. You would have tried to win them over. But now you're too awakened to be manipulated, too aware to be controlled, and too grown to be contained. This revelation is not punishment, it is a release. You need to understand something. They didn't fight you because you were weak. They fought you because you were strong. They didn't isolate you because you were unworthy. They isolated you because you were becoming too powerful. They didn't gossip about you because you were strange. They gossiped because you were ascending. Your ele- they gossiped because you were ascending. Your elevation has always been the root of their hostility. Your destination has always been the trigger. Because the moment you fully step into your calling, their influence collapses. Their stories die. Their roles dissolve. You rising means the cult loses its purpose. So let me say this clearly. You were never meant to grow in a soil that feared your bloom. You were never meant to rise in a house that prayed for your silence. And you were never meant to dim for a group that only loved you powerless. The family cult tried to oppress the gift, but the gift kept growing. They tried to break your confidence, but God rebuilt it stronger. They tried to silence your voice, but your voice carries truth they cannot erase. This awakening is your liberation. This clarity is your protection. This separation is your destiny unfolding. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. You don't need their acceptance. You are rising beyond their reach. And nothing they plotted can stop what heaven has planned. Most gifted people think they are because dislike for their personality, but the truth is deeper. They are targeted because their presence exposes what others refuse to confront. This episode is going, because this will be a few episodes, right? And it's going to break open the psychological and spiritual forces that's behind why families, communities, and relationships fear the gifted one. You'll learn what triggers their envy, what threatens their sense of identity, and why your evolution feels dangerous to people who refuse to grow. This isn't about conflict. This is about calling. This is about energy. This is about being chosen in a room filled with unhealed people. Watch this if you've ever wondered, why me? Why always me? You're about to understand. And why I believe that you are about to understand, because now I understand. And I realize in looking back that there were elders in the family that it was a couple of comments that was made by elders, and they weren't negative, but it let me know they felt like I stood out, right? And they were the same ones that later weren't so nice, but it let me know that they were watching me as I got older, right? And became more not just religious, but also spiritual, where I meditate and such, right? So let me move on. They were never intimidated by your behavior. They were intimidated by your being. See, gifted people don't walk into rooms. They disrupt patterns. They don't speak, they expose. They don't grow, they reveal who refuses to. You're not targeted because you're wrong. You're targeted because you're right. Your presence activates what they've been hiding from themselves. And the moment you came into that family, that bloodline, that environment, they recognized you long before you recognized yourself. And have you ever noticed how people reacted to you before you even understood your own personality? As a child, they may have treated you with caution. As a teen, they may have treated you with suspicion. And as an adult, they may have treated you like a threat. But why, you may ask? because gifted people glow without trying. Chosen people shift the emotional temperature when they enter a room. You didn't know you carried this energy, but they did. They saw your depth when you were still innocent. They saw your insight when you were still developing, and they saw your strength before you ever used it. And in insecure people, recognition becomes resentment. The reason people fear the gifted is simple. Your existence forces them to confront who they are not. Your growth highlights their stagnation. Your clarity highlights their denial. Your truth highlights their lies. Your resilience highlights their weakness. You think they dislike you, but what they truly dislike is the reflection of themselves they see when you show up. They see their unrealized potential. They ignored calling, their unhealed wounds also, and their abandoned dreams. People don't attack the gifted because the gifted are wrong. They attack because the gift make them remember everything they gave up on. You are a reminder of what they could have been, right? Every insecure system relies on one thing, containing the person who cannot be controlled. So let's break this down psychologically. Families maintain order by suppressing the strongest personality. Groups maintain unity by suppressing the most insightful member. Communities maintain roles by suppressing the one who questions. And bloodlines maintain dysfunction by suppressing the one destined to break it. You break patterns by simply being alive. That is why they fear you. Not because you rebel, but because you refuse to lie to yourself. Not because you're loud, but because your silence speaks truth. Not because you fight back, but because your spirit stands tall even when they push. People who rely on control cannot stand someone they cannot contain. Gifted people have a dangerous ability. You can see the motive behind the action. You can see the truth behind the words. And you can see the heart behind the performance. That scares people more than anything else. Because most individuals aren't afraid of being judged, they're afraid of being seen. And you see too much. You see the envy in someone's smile. You see the insecurity in someone's anger. You see the manipulation in someone's concern. You see the competition in someone's advice. The spiritually gifted are human x-rays. Your perception pierces pretenders, and pretenders hate being revealed. So instead of growing, they attack the one who can see them clearly. Gifted individuals carry a brightness that is not from this world. It's not personality, it's not charm, it's not charisma, it's presence. Your presence awakens places in others they worked hard to suppress. Their guilt, their insecurity, their fears, their jealousy, and their unhealed trauma. Your light isn't aggressive, but it is exposing. You're not doing anything, you're just existing. But to someone hiding from themselves, your existence feels like confrontation. There is another reason they fear you. They sense you will not stay where they remain. They fear that you're going to leave them. Something about you never blended, never dimmed, and never conformed. You were the child with questions, the teen with insight, and the adult with awareness. You were the one who looked around and said, "This cannot be all there is." And that terrified them because if you rise, you prove they could have risen. If you break free, you prove they choose to stay stuck. If you evolve, you prove they surrendered their own evolution. Your potential is a mirror they can't handle. Your destiny is a reminder they ignored theirs. And people would rather destroy the reminder than face the truth. When a gifted one awakens, power shifts instantly. The manipulator loses influence. The narcissist loses control. The insecure sibling loses their advantage. The jealous parent loses dominance. And the family cult loses its grip. Your clarity breaks the entire system. This is why the moment you wake up, they panic. They scatter, they gossip, they scramble, they pressure, they provoke, and they accuse. Because nothing terrifies these people more than a chosen one who finally understands who they are. Your awakening is their downfall. So hear me clearly. You are not feared because you are harmful. You are feared because you are inevitable. You are not disliked because you are flawed. You are disliked because you are unforgettable. Your gift was never the issue. Their insecurity was. Your calling was never the threat. Their refusal to grow was. You were born to rise, and they were never built to handle your elevation. So let them fear what they don't understand. Let them resist what they can't control. And let them talk, whisper, plot, or even pretend. You are still rising, you are still chosen, and you are still becoming. When a bloodline turns into a cult against the gifted one, they don't come swinging. They don't move loudly. They don't attack with their hands. They attack with their patterns. See, cults survive on manipulation. Families survive on love. The moment your bloodline begins using tactics instead of truth, they've already declared you the enemy. And I hope that this series exposed the very tactics that they use to weaken the one God marked. They don't want your downfall. They want your silence. They don't want you to be seen. They don't want you noticed. They don't want anyone speaking positively on your name or about you. The first tactic of a family cult is subtle sabotage. They label it love. They package it as concern, but the goal is simple: keep you insecure, confused, and dependent. This sabotage looks like advice designed to slow you down, warnings meant to scare you, opinions meant to reduce your confidence, information forgotten at strategic moments, celebrations they deliberately ruin, opportunities they steer you away from, and the encouragement that always carry doubt attached. They don't stop you with force, they stop you with emotional detours. They act like protectors while pushing you backwards. And the gifted one often sees this too late. The second tactic is the whisper campaign. Nothing spreads faster than jealousy dressed as concern. So they'll start with, "Did you hear? I'm just saying. You know how they are. And I'm worried about them." A story begins, a lie grows legs. A whisper becomes gossip, and the gossip becomes a reputation. What's the point of the smear? Simple. If they can't distort your image, they don't have to confront their insecurity. They rewrite your personality. They rewrite your intention. They rewrite your entire existence. And the whole time, you haven't done anything but exist. This one is calculated. Anything strong in you, they twist it into a weakness. Your confidence becomes arrogance. Your independence becomes selfishness. Your insights becomes judgment. Your boundaries become attitude. Your intuition becomes overreacting. Your emotions become drama. Your calling becomes delusion. And suddenly, the very things God gave you to survive life become the things they use to discredit you. This is psychological warfare. Their goal is to make you question your own strengths so you never step into your true purpose. A family cult never fights alone. They recruit. Why? Because nothing validates insecurity like company. So they reach out to a cousin who envies you, a sibling who competes with you, an uncle who dislikes your confidence, a parent who fears your independence, a friend who resents your growth. They build alliances. They share lies. They exchange exaggerated stories. They create evidence that only exists in their mind. And now you're no longer dealing with one person, you're dealing with a group that is powered by resentment. They unite not in truth, but in fear of your potential. This one breaks many chosen ones. They hurt you, then claim you hurt them. They lie on you, then cry that you changed. They provoke you, then accuse you of being too much. They cross every boundary, then accuse you of being ungrateful. Gifted ones are often cast as villains because villains are easier to blame than confronting the truth. They couldn't handle you. A family cult will injure you. They run to the public and cry, "I have lived it." It's their favorite tactic. When the smear doesn't work, they move to silence. They stop calling. They stop speaking. They exile you without explanation. They cut you out of decisions. They pretend you don't exist. They gather without you. They celebrate without you. This is not neglect. This is punishment. This is emotional exile disguised as distance. And what's the purpose of it? To make you believe you are alone, make you doubt your worth, and make you chase their acceptance. But what they don't realize, chosen ones grow the most in isolation. The final tactic is the most dangerous. They go after your identity because if they can weaken how you see yourself, They can control who you become. So they'll target your self esteem, your voice, your clarity, your intuition, your purpose, your peace, and your potential. They want you unsure, quiet, confused, doubting yourself, doubting your calling, doubting your power. But gifted ones don't lose themselves, they rediscover themselves. And when you realize what they were doing, you break the spell. These tactics were never about you. They were about the fear you stirred in them. You didn't threaten their safety. You threatened their ego. You hurt their pride. You didn't threaten their life. You threatened their illusion of superiority. They formed a cult against the gifted one because they sensed your truth. You were always going to rise, with or without them, beyond all of them, in spite of all of them. If you ever wondered what exactly about, how can I say? If you ever wondered exactly about you that made them act like that, people don't target what is ordinary. They target what is powerful. And gifted individuals carry qualities that insecure people cannot tolerate. This is the truth they never said loud. Your gift is the threat, not your personality. The first thing they hear, your sensitivity. People underestimate the spiritually sensitive because they confuse sensitivity with weakness. But sensitivity is a radar. You sense moods, you sense lies, you sense intention, you sense danger, you sense envy, you sense hostility before anyone speaks. This terrifies those who hide behind masks. Your sensitivity threatens people who rely on deception to survive. You weren't born guessing, you were born knowing. Your intuition hits too close for comfort. You pick up on things others pretend not to see. You call out patterns they think are invisible. You feel shifts before they are spoken. This makes you unpredictable. The cult mentalities hate unpredictability. They fear your intuition because they cannot steer it, shape it, or manipulate it. Here's another reason why they fear you. You don't break the way others do. People threw things at you that should have destroyed your identity, but you and got up again. Your resilience exposes their fragility. Your strength exposes their excuses. They resent you because you survived the very things that would have collapsed them. Gifted ones have a dangerous trait. You say what everyone else is afraid to say, not because you're confrontational, but because truth sits heavy on your chest. Your honesty breaks generational denial. It breaks dysfunctional patterns. It breaks the silence that keeps the family comfortable. People who lie to themselves cannot stand someone who speaks without fear. Your honesty threatens their delusion of righteousness. You evolved, they didn't. And the moment you outgrew the box they put you in, you became a threat to the story they tell about you. Your growth proves they were wrong about you. They underestimated you. They couldn't stop you. They can't claim credit for you. Some people would rather sabotage you than accept that you surpassed them. Your progress is their insecurity exposed. This is the real reason they fear you. They sensed your purpose, not your job, not your talent, not your personality, your purpose. They felt the weight of your destiny long before you understood it. You came into that bloodline to break cycles they never wanted broken. You came to heal what they wanted hidden. You came to rise beyond what they settled for. Your purpose feels like danger to people committed to stagnation. They don't want to move, they're comfortable and they're intimidated. And here's the part most will never admit. You are the version of themselves they gave up on becoming. Your courage, your insight, your presence, your evolution, your connection to the divine, to God Himself. You highlight parts of themselves they buried, and you remind them of the dreams they never pursued. You are living proof that they settled too soon. That truth is unbearable for them. So instead of elevating, they eliminate. Instead of growing, they gossip. Instead of healing, they hate. The gift they tried to kill is the very thing that will elevate you. They saw your light early and they tried to dim it. They saw your purpose forming and they tried to crush it. They saw your destiny rising and they tried to block it. But destiny doesn't answer to them. Your calling isn't tied to their approval. You are the storm they could not stop. You are the prophecy they feared. You are the shift they felt coming, and now you are rising. exactly how heaven intended. Thank you for visiting my channel. Stay covered, stay conscious, stay undefeated. I'll see you on the next one.